Welcome. This is Callie Carroll, and you're listening to a special series where we're diving into Rhonda Byrne's book, The Magic, taking 28 days to have intentional gratitude to see how our lives can change. It is a part of Good Morning Sunshines where we wake up to see that perspective reveals miracles. And guys, I'm telling you, gratitude can change your world. Let's get started. Good morning, sunshines. Callie Carroll here with our magic practice. How are you guys doing? How's everybody hanging in there? Day 12, practice number 12 of our magic. There were a couple lessons beforehand. If you guys have been doing that with us, and if not, you're like, what does she think that she is a genie? Maybe. No, I'm not the genie. Rhonda is. Okay, she's the magic genie. She's the one teaching these things. I'm the one walking you through them together to reiterate things. And today we're going to talk about a magical practice where we are going to focus on a few of the people in our past and our history who have supported us in any way. You could call them heroes if you want. It could just be someone who made a difference in your worlds. It could be someone who doesn't even know you exist, but they posted the right thing on the right day, or somehow their video got to you. It could be someone who maybe just treated you in such a way and it wasn't a great day for you and it changed your path. It could be somebody that you've had a long-term relationship with, but we're going to look at three relationships where you feel like they have made a difference, and we're going to say thank you. And you know what's so easy about this practice? You don't have to like hunt them down, try to figure out who they were, find them in your phone book. Phone book, that's funny. I was going through all my stuff from the 80s and 90s, you guys, and I actually pulled out all of our paper phone books, and then I found my grandparents' phone books and address books. We used to memorize phone numbers. Do you know what it meant? Like phone numbers were up here? I don't know, you guys, what are we doing with all that space that used to remember phone numbers? Anybody out there know that's my age? But we don't have to do that. We don't have to actually share this message with them. You don't have to contact them afterwards. You don't have to send them a letter. We're simply going to do the practice of gratitude so that we can acknowledge another wonderful, amazing gift that we have received in the past, opening up those doors as we say thank you for more amazing people, teachers, supporters to come into our lives, because what we put out there, we're going to get back in. And this is a perfect example of spending and devoting some time on those individuals that might have just kind of gone by the wayside. Maybe you never really even said thank you. Maybe you haven't dove that deep into how, wow, they really did change your life. If you wouldn't have gotten that one video that the one person sent to you, the whole like series of events that have occurred for you, they wouldn't have been the same. Your world has changed because of them. How cool is that? So I'm going to share just a couple examples today. And as I do, I want you to start thinking about some of the different people who may have influenced you. Again, could be a teacher, a coach, a direct mentor, an aunt, an uncle, a friend, an influencer. It could be situational. Like I said, maybe you didn't even know the person, but they made that sort of impact. And I've heard some grand stories of these things occurring. So the first name, and again, I've done this practice a lot, so I've done this with a lot of people. The first name I wanted to share today is one of my coaches when I was a gymnast, named Nicole. And we were working on some skill sets that now when I look back at it, I'm like, that really wasn't even that difficult of a skill set. But where I was at in my gymnastics career, it did feel very difficult. And it's so you're on a balance beam. You guys know the balance beam is like 4 inches wide and it's, I don't know how high, 4 feet high. And we're doing a back handspring, which is like where you're standing, you jump backwards onto your hands into a handstand position, and then you bring your feet back to the beam. So it's like hands in your feet, right? And learning back handspring, that wasn't like, it was scary, but not like this. For me, connecting a series on the balance beam, I don't know, it was one of those things that just freaked me the heck darn flippity flop out. And it's where you have to connect two of those. So I think part of that reason is because you've got so much momentum going. If your first back handspring isn't in direct alignment, then you're jumping backwards towards your hands. If you're off by a quarter of an inch, you're gonna eat beam. Like your face is gonna smush the beam, depending on how you land. So it was scary for me. Now my coach knew that I was ready to do this series, just back handspring, and I didn't. I didn't have the belief in me that she had within me. And her show up to me was hardcore. And I'm seriously giving thank you for the person who showed up for me hardcore in my life. She showed up and was like, you know what? I know you don't want to do this, but you can do this. And you're not getting off the balance beam until you do this. And I'm crying. I'm like, this woman is batshit crazy. My parents are going to be so mad at her afterwards. I can't believe she's making me do this. This is horrible. And I don't know how long this goes on for. Maybe it was only 35 minutes, but for me, it felt like 5 hours of me just like, I do one handspring and I just would jump off over and over again until finally I'm like, this woman is not going to let me leave until I do these skills. Like it's 9:30 at night now. I have homework to do. I have got to get out of here. What's happening? So finally, long story, apparently kind of long, I end up connecting these two skills and doing my first series, which again was like in my gymnastics career was like a lower level move. But what it opened up for me, what she did for me, this one mentor, this one coach, one of these humans in my life that was there for a handful of years, she taught me so many lessons in that moment and over again in my gymnastics career. She taught me to fail. She taught me to fall. And not only that that was okay, but it was necessary. She watched me fall over and over and over and over again, knowing that the only way I was going to learn how to persevere was to fall. That's a lesson a lot of other people they haven't received yet. And because of that, they're not finding the success in their lives because they're so scared of failure. She taught me tenacity. She taught me not to give up on myself. She taught me that someone else can believe in you more than you can believe in yourself. And sometimes you just have to believe that person and that you're not giving up. You're not giving up. You're going to push through. So she also taught me perseverance, being able to come out on the other side making this work for myself. And that was the beginning of our coach athlete relationship. We went on, like I said, I think for another between 5 and 7 years of her continuously pushing me above and beyond my known limits in the beginning, so much as to like later on in my gymnastics career, I was like, hey, Nicole, I want to do this one. And she's like, are you crazy? Like, that's, blah. But she wouldn't say that. She's like, sounds good. Let's start working on it. Where everybody's like, but people don't really do that skill set. And she gave me that internal confidence that I could do hard things. I might fall a lot. I might get scared. I might have moments where I need somebody to push me through, but I would persevere and I would succeed. So I would say in this practice, you go through and you really think about the person. And then you can either just talk to them, like you're just chatting with them. You could voice memo it, you can write it down. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Nicole, for all of those moments that you believed in me. The moments where you believed in me more than I believed in myself, and you would not let me quit. The moments where you held me up by holding me to the word that I could complete some different things. The way that you supported me no matter what, and the way that you helped me become the woman that I am today. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of my life. When you go through and you look at relationships in your life, and you could do this with a lot of different people, and you do that and you feel that, whether that's your third grade teacher or your piano teacher or somebody who supported you in creating art, whatever it is, there are so many different things. They gave their time and energy to you, and here you are because of what they did. Again, it could be on a smaller scale. It doesn't have to be on like a long coaching relationship. I'll give you another example actually about that. So, after my son's diagnosis with two different rare diseases, we were here in Children's Hospital at the Colorado Children's Hospital. And the doctors, the physicians in oncology floor, you guys, they're all absolutely amazing. It was also really, really challenging because when you have a child who has AVP deficiency where they can't hold their water and they're having this like this craving, this need and this water loss that's getting their sodium levels off balance, and it's already on its own a very complicated disease to manage, let alone managing it in a 20-month-old who can't talk and can't understand not having water. That was difficult, and then add the fact that we found multiple tumors in his body, and we're going to have to go under anesthesia and take away his water over and over again and create this massive water trauma within this small being that doesn't understand what the F's going on in his world. And then afterwards, we're going to start him on a chemotherapy that's going to make it worse. And I was having a really challenging time being a full-time caregiver, going from worker to full-time caregiver of my son when I didn't understand how to manage these diseases. And I couldn't find the support, anybody to support me in figuring it out. The doctors know textbooks. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is balance the water in, measure the pee out, make sure he's not drinking this much. I'm like, you don't understand. He feels like he's dying. He's screaming all the time. Something is not right here. Mama's intuition, something is not right here. I'm measuring everything, I'm balancing everything. It's exhausting just thinking about it. And I would ask, I'm like, how many other families that you have, do you have that have this? Oh yeah, there's other ones. I'm like, okay, cool. Can you connect me? Chirp, chirp, chirp. I'm like, I need to talk to another mother who's gone through this. Finally, finally, and I'm so thankful for a woman named Carolyn. We found each other on Facebook somewhere, a Facebook group. I don't exactly even know how it happened. See, it's not like we've had like this, we've actually never met each other, this big encounter. Somehow we got connected and she said, hey, my son also has ABP deficiency and Langerhans cell histiocytosis. I've been through something akin as to what you are going through. And if you want to just talk or something, let's chat. So I call her up, and the way she was able to understand what we were going through, it wasn't even like comfort me so much as be like, you're not batshit crazy. You are going through something, an anomaly that is just so hard for anybody to understand. But also to support me in what to do next. From this one relationship, this brief encounter, we've had all of maybe 2.5 hours of phone calls ever and a few text messages. She supported me in finding a specialist that really dives into both of these diseases in kids who have AVPD and LCH. And then I understood why we were such a mess, because the chemo we had him on included steroids, which messed up his other disease. So we had to immediately stop that practice. And then we tried another one, and we were able to follow along with a specialist out of Texas Children's who was able to support us in creating a plan, a roadmap in our chemo world that we call it, a roadmap that would support him as best as possible when you have both rare diseases. I don't even know this woman. I am so thankful for the way she impacted our life. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Carolyn, for being the one to reach out and say, hey, I've been through this, for giving me a couple hours of your Saturday morning. I don't know. I think you guys were on the way to a beach or something. You were going somewhere, and for devoting that time to listening to me, supporting me, to sharing with me all of the information, and then following me for the rest of the journey. Like, we would reach out. How's your son doing? How are things going? Where can I help? We've been in contact with these little brief nuances of just getting to share a little bit about being these rare disease chemo moms. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's taught me to do other things like that. Now I'm the one sharing with other people. I'm the one advocating and supporting people. So when you go back through the history of your life, of all of the people who have positively impacted you, and again, it doesn't have to be on a huge scale or have been a huge relationship. It could have been a short-term relationship. Think about all of the flippin' amazing gifts you have received by the energy of these other humans. And I'm not talking physical gifts. Maybe you got a physical gift. I'm talking about the energy they gave you, they allowed for you to have, they supported you with. And now here you are today, and you were able to get through whatever that was or succeed at that level that you did. It feels really good to go through and do this practice. In the actual magic practice, if you guys are following along with us, you're going to do this for 3 humans. And preferably at the same time, so that there's this build of the gratitude up in your belly and your being, so you can really feel it, because that's where you're just like exploding joy. So if you can do all three of them, if you're like the list is way too big, this is what's cool. This is your 3 a.m. wakesies. Be like, you know what? I'm going to give gratitude for a couple people. I'm just going to go through some different people. Or you're on your drive to work and you're thinking, traffic's not the best today. I'm going to think about some gratitude for some humans right now. So you can do it with others, but try to do your 3 in a row, write it down, speak it out. If you feel like sharing it with them, go for it. But that's not the practice. The practice is to really connect to that within your being. This is the 12th day of our actual practice, so like our 12th practice with Rhonda Byrne and the magic. And I hope that you guys have been following along, joining us for each one of these days. If you haven't, go back. You can catch all of the lessons, grab our book, catch all of the lessons. And also think about sharing this with some other humans in your life. The book, however you want to do it, buy some of the book, send them a video. But imagine if we were all stepping into this space a little bit more closely with more joy in our hearts, what our world may look like, right? Guys, I love you, love you, love you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember that perspective reveals miracles, and we will talk with you soon. Thank you. Bye. Thanks for joining, and don't forget to subscribe and, of course, share with your friends. Guys, that's how we impact more lives. All right, see you next time.